All right, Todd, before I bring in Sean
The
Salisbury,
Rainbow Connection. Yeah, shows a good start. Got a lot to do. Only one game. Mm.
let's bring in Sean Salisbury, morning host of the Sean Salisbury Show on Sports Talk
Oh, man.
790. Houston, former NFL quarterback. Yeah, that probably precludes us from getting Patrick Mahomes on this season when Fritzy does his impersonation. What did you think of his impersonation, by the way, of Patrick
I
Mahomes?
thought it sucked, and that's the only. But I love. Hey, it's a heck of an effort by Fritzy. How you guys doing, Dan? Good to
Oh,
talk to you
we're
guys.
doing great. Hey, how about them Texans?
Dude, think about the yesterday in Houston sports. The
I know.
Astros couldn't hold a one-run lead ever this season. Miserable on the road. Every single game the Rockets play in, we're asking this question: hey, are you guys going to give effort? And why so flat? Oh, it's only the playoffs, but let's not worry about that. And then the Texans, who right now, Dan, of the three, they're your best chance to win the Super Bowl. I mean, a championship. And they ran into a team that looked like, well, we'll play about 75%. We won't break a sweat. Patrick Mahomes' jersey will still be clean for next week, and they win. So not a good day for Houston sports. I think the Texans are going to be fine. I'm not panicked about them, but if their defense doesn't get better, Dan, they not only got to pace Lamar, they got to go Ben Roethlisberger and Kirk Cousins, all four of those guys in the first month. They could actually be a pretty decent team and be 1-3 or 0-4, but the Chiefs are at a different level than everybody else. And now adding Allaire, it's frightening.
And I was looking at the Texans last night. As much as we want to go, boy, they missed DeAndre Hopkins. And I said, he's not playing defense. Like
Right.
the defense was on the field for 9 minutes in one of those drives. You're not winning games like that.
Yeah, what was it, Dan? 17 plays. If you can't get off the field, it won't matter. There's enough burden on Deshaun Watson anyway, Dan. The great quarterbacks in the league bear that burden, and they know it. But Deshaun could score 31 points, and if you run into Breeze, Brady, Mahomes, Russ Wilson, you give up 38, it's not going to matter. So think about that burden he has to carry. Hell, look at Mahomes last night. What did he throw for? A little over 200 yards. He had a run game. Defense played well. He didn't have to be special, and they still yawned their way to 38 points. Watson's going to have to hang 30 a week because the back end's not very good. And, Dan, I don't know where they're going to generate pressure on the quarterback. Some teams can do it with 4 and 5. But then if you all of a sudden say, well, we got to start rushing 5 and 6, and you don't get to the quarterback, even I, with Andy Reid's face mask on and can't see, might have been able to complete a few balls. Now you get the great quarterbacks at the elite level. It's going to be a rough one, but this is a good team. No reason to panic, but it is a rough schedule to start, and Deshaun Watson will give them a chance every game, but that defense will not get them out of January.
And I know that, we go back and forth where people say, you don't need to have that marquee wide receiver, an all-pro wide receiver. Marvin Harrison with the Colts to win a title. Isaac Bruce with the Rams in 1999. Jerry Rice, Gary Clark with the Redskins. Those are the all-pro wide receivers on a team that won the Super Bowl. It just doesn't happen. But then, do you want to pay these wide receivers? Like DeAndre Hopkins cost a lot of money, but is he worth... Like, I don't know where the value of wide receivers. I know how we feel about running backs, but where are we with wide receivers? Do you need a great wide receiver, an all-pro, or do you just need, 5 guys that go out there and play?
If I can have a great wide receiver and then have John Taylor, Tom Rathman, Roger Craig, Joe Montana, I'm pretty good, right, Dan?
Yeah.
I can take any good defensive coordinator usually. Their thought process is, and Belichick's thought this, has been like this whole time. You give me one, I can take your best player, not named a quarterback, out of the game. I should be able to, right? So I subscribe to the fact that if you give me 3 good ones or 1 great one, I'm taking the 3 good ones. So you look at the Texans, I'll use them for example. They've got guys with Fuller and Cooks and Cobb that are pretty good. Yes, we all want that crutch to lean on, but Dan, listen, I don't blame you're worth what you can negotiate. I don't blame anybody for going and getting their money. I would not pay a receiver $22 million because I'm going to tell you now, who's closer to the Super Bowl? The Texans without Hopkins or the Cardinals with him? Today. I'm talking about today. Who's closer?
Texans are, but neither's getting to the Super Bowl.
Amen. And that was the second half of it. Put it this way, are the Arizona Cardinals 4 games better? I think Hopkins is the best receiver in the league. Are they 4 games or 3 games better because of Hopkins? No, because if their defense doesn't play better, guess what's going to happen? the Seahawks and the 49ers are going to roll right through them. They'll stay in games. Why? Because they've got Kyler Murray and you've got DeAndre Hopkins and here in Houston. So, Dan, I think that, how many Super Bowls has Julio Jones in Atlanta won with a great player?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you make the point. So I think that we're almost to the point where we're going to devalue that price, even though the price keeps going up. We're not putting a premium on saying, well, a great receiver is winning me a Super Bowl. You better have a rush end, you better have a tackle, and you better have a quarterback. If you don't have those three, you're probably not playing in February.
How did the Chiefs not win the Super Bowl, or at least go to the Super Bowl this year?
For me, would be major injuries or something to Mahomes, which is the obvious. I think that's the case with all the teams that are at the top of the level, top of the heap. And, somebody like Lamar Jackson or Brady or Breeze in the NFC playing them. I would think that the way they're not going to get there, a significant amount of injuries. They're a team that can score 40. They can hang 40 on your regular basis. Running into a team that has less injuries and has a quarterback that's on par, maybe not Patrick Mahomes, but can carry their team for a month. But to me, they would have to play awfully bad football. I think at 90%, they're probably better than every team in football right now. And now you add Edwards-Helaire and a better defense, and they're hungry. I think they think that winning number 2 is more important than winning number 1, and that's a good thing. It's very difficult to do. But I think they're going to have to beat themselves, and Andy Reid's teams don't do that very often in Kansas City. They're the heavy favorite, in my opinion.
He's Sean Salisbury. He's the former NFL quarterback and host of the Sean Salisbury Show on Sports Talk Radio 790 in Houston. I picked the Ravens against the Cowboys in the Super Bowl.
Can I ask why the Cowboys?
I don't know. I just kept saying they're getting close. Like that talent has to work out at some point.
Right.
I just keep thinking you've accumulated this much talent, and I was just wondering about their division. I'm not sold on the Niners coming back. Seattle's not going to go away. I don't know what to expect in some of these other divisions. I don't know what the Packers are like. The Vikings got a ton of talent. Like, who is that formidable team? Do I trust the Saints with Drew Brees, as strange as that may sound? Brady going to a super team of sorts. Can they, get it right? I just said, I'm looking at that Dallas team, and I thought, if I don't jump in now, I'm never going to jump in with the Cowboys, because I thought about it last year. I thought they had as much talent offensively as anybody, and they outscore the opposition by over 100 points, and they end up 8-8. I don't know.
And they bring CeeDee Lamb into the – Dan, I think they have a Super Bowl roster. And I've told you on this show in the past about how I've always thought Dak Prescott's undervalued because he's always available. He plays. He put up the big numbers last year. Now he's got to put up some stuff in January. I don't blame you. I think they're going to win the division. I just don't know defensively. I got to see them step their game up, and they're active. The key is, can you knock Brady around? Can you prevent all those weapons if healthy in Tampa and New Orleans? And you mentioned the 49ers and the Seahawks aren't going away. And what do all those guys have in common? A quarterback just as good as the one in Dallas. I understand why you're going there. It's such a deep NFC. In the AFC, my only well-coached, the Baltimore Ravens are nasty. They got better defensively. They're bullies on defense. Can Lamar Jackson repeat what he did last year? And will you defend him the same? Or does it matter? Is he just so good with his feet and arm now that he's the ultimate weapon in the league because his feet are so good? I wonder how defenses are going to play him, and the Texans get a taste of him next week. Both good choices. I actually chose Tampa that Brady is great in January against the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl, Dan. And I chose Tampa, and maybe I'm buying into the hype. I think Tampa's going to give the Saints all they can handle in the division.
All right, let me go around the NFL here real quick.
Okay.
Patriots make the playoffs?
I don't think so. If Cam Newton plays like he did his MVP year, maybe, but they're so depleted on the roster. If they do, Bill Belichick should be the coach of the year no matter what happens. I got Buffalo winning the division, more offensive weapons.
Does Jordan Love start a game this year that has nothing to do with an injury to Aaron Rodgers?
If they're 13-2 and it's the last game of the season and home field advantage is sewn up, other than that, until Aaron Rodgers leaves, Jordan Love will not start a game. This may be a long shelf if they keep Aaron Rodgers. If he's healthy, Jordan Love's going to stand over there and do what I did most of my career, hold a clipboard.
Who has a better chance of making the playoffs, Rams, Chargers?
That NFC West, probably the deepest division. I'm going to still say the Rams, though, even though it's a deep division, and Arizona is going to disrupt the playoff picture. I just think injuries and the Chargers continue. Something's going to happen that's going to, maybe I'm just growing up in San Diego and now them being LA. And without Phillip Rivers, although Tyrod Taylor protects the ball, I don't think they take enough chances. I think they're going to come up shy. Only one team from the AFC West makes the playoffs.
Who are we talking about first on Monday, Brady or Cam Newton?
Tom Brady, and it won't matter, even if Cam throws for 500, because it's going to be Brady, oh my gosh, look at the weapons. They are a legitimate February team. Or, oh my gosh, the naysayers are going to say he threw for $187 and they lost. Tom Brady doesn't have it anymore. I wish I had Jameis Winston. You'll hear somebody ignorant enough to say that. It'll be Brady, and Brady will have a good game against the Saints. Don't be surprised if they beat him and we start talking, oh my gosh, at 43 this year, he's an MVP candidate.
Are the Jags tanking?
Yeah, and you can't blame him, Dan. I'm not a big tanking guy in any sport, but if the rules allow it, why wouldn't you? As much as I like Gardner Minshew, you want Trevor Lawrence or Gardner Minshew? It doesn't matter what Minshew does. If they lose, Lawrence will be the pick. And we've seen teams do this before in the past. The Dolphins tried to, Dan. Brian Flores is too good and they played good football. Yeah, they're doing it because, well, this team is, they're giving everybody away. And what Trevor Lawrence does is give them hope. They're tanking, and I don't blame them, although I'm not a big tank guy. Yeah, and if I don't see how they're going to win 4 football games this year.
Yeah, and I know people get caught up in this, and actually players get caught up and they get angry and they say, we're not quitting. And it's not the players who are tanking, it's the management that tanked. And that's what happened with the Marlins when Derek Jeter comes out and says, I can't believe you're saying this, that we're tanking. Those players on the field are playing hard. And I went, Derek, you put those players on the field and they're not very good. That's why it's called tanking. It's managerial tanking.
Yeah, you get to control it if you're the front office by saying, hey, Jalen Ramsey, you're gone. A.J. Bouye, you're gone. And we're getting Calais, all those guys that are gone. You think, now you're right. You think Gardner Minshew wants to say, hey, man, I'm going to hold this for you until you get here, Trevor Lawrence, so I can give you my job and move on. No, it's a front office tank, and there's no question they're doing it. And who doesn't want the opportunity? Think about the Chicago Bears if they play poorly, Dan, and all of a sudden they're sitting there, and you got a chance to get Trevor Lawrence with that defense, how quickly that could turn around. Yeah, the Jacksonville Jaguars will be in that hunt. And Fields ain't bad either, so you're going to get a good second quarterback too.
Hope you have a good weekend. Thank you, bud.
Thank you, and I appreciate you as always. Thanks to the guys, too.
That's Sean Salisbury, morning host of the Sean Salisbury Show, Sports Talk 790 in Houston, former CFL legend, joining us on the program.